Hi, in this video we will cover a strategy that has been shared with me by a friend, and I found it was a very nice challenging strategy that I can share with you all. So let's first understand the strategy, then build it on Tradetron, and finally we'll have a look at the backtest report of how the strategy works. Now to keep his strategy private, I have modified the key numbers out here. So the numbers are different, but the overall workflow, the logic that it is following is pretty much the same. So let's try and understand what this strategy does. So this strategy is basically like a strangle. So every day at 9:45, it tries to look at the call and a put which is trading at 150 rupees. Now we'll first understand the logical flow only for call, and then we will be able to implement the same thing for the put as well. So let's have a look at only call and see what exactly is happening. So for our call instrument out here, the logic is that we are first looking at a call which is trading at 150 rupees. So let's assume I have found an instrument which is 18,000 call, which is trading at 150 rupees at the moment. So if 18,000 is trading at 150 rupees, we are now going to immediately short one lot of this. So I short one lot of my 18,000 call option. All right. Now after doing this, I will have a fixed target and a stop loss. So I will basically come here and I will have a fixed target and a stop loss value on the same. So my target will be 50 points and my stop loss will be 50 points. Now again, numbers I have used, you can change it and try it with different numbers and see what works best for you. Now out here, in case my target gets achieved. So my first case is that in case my target gets achieved, which means I took an entry at 150. Since I'm shorting, I benefit when the price goes down. So when the price comes to 100 rupees, so from 150, when it comes to 100 rupees, I will basically follow this particular route and I will go and find another call which is trading at 150 rupees. So let's assume 18,000 call was shorted at 150. It came to 100. I exited it at 100, and now I will find another call. So let's assume 18,100 is now trading at 150 rupees. So now I will find my 18,100 call. After I found that call, I will again sell one lot of that. So again, I will sell one lot of my 18,100 call, and I will have the same target, the 50 rupee target and 50 rupee stop loss on that same instrument. Again, if my target gets hit, again I will follow the same process and I will keep going. So every time a target is hit, I'm basically finding a strike at 150 rupees and continuously taking advantage of a one-sided move in the market. So this basically helps me take advantage of that one-sided move. Now, what if my stop loss gets hit? So in case I take an entry, so I take an entry at, let's say, this 18,100 call, and after that my stop loss gets hit. So in case my stop loss gets hit of 50 points, I'm going to follow a wait and trade style strategy. So in case my 150 rupee instrument goes to 200, which means it goes to 200 rupees, I have a loss of 50 points. I will exit at that 50-point loss, and now I will wait for this same 18,100 call to come back to my entry price. So I'm waiting for the same uh, same instrument to come back to cost. So if my instrument comes back to my entry price, in that case, I will follow this particular line and I will now short the same 18,100 call. So since I had took a loss on 18,100, if my stop loss, if my price comes back to the cost, so from 200, if it comes back to 150 now, in that case, I will short my 18,100 call again, and again I will now have my target and stop loss. Now if my target is achieved, I'll find a new instrument. If my stop loss is achieved, I'll again do the wait and trade method that I just discussed. So let's now try and understand how can we build something like this, so something looking so complicated on Tradetron, and see how do we execute the same. So the process that I have shared was for call, but we can do the same thing for put. So this strategy basically has four sets. Two are for call, two are for put. So let's try and understand how this strategy is working. So I will go to edit And now to build my strategy, I basically have four different sets. Set 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now my set 1 and 2 are basically for my call instrument, and set 3 and 4 are basically for my put instrument. So I'll be explaining you the set 1 and 2 and how it works in detail. While 3 and 4 I will not be touching. It is the exact replica of 1 and 2. If you want to have a look at it, just duplicate the strategy that I have added in the description, and you can just have a look at this entire setup that I have made. So now in here, I can see that my entry condition is there. Now in my entry, I basically want to check for two things. The first thing that I want to check for is that if time is more than 9:45. Second thing I want to check for, that is it the first trade of the day or is it the second trade of the day. If it is the first trade, I will immediately want to allow it to get through. So which is why I have added this thing in a condition as an OR condition out here. So if time is more than 9:45 and if it's the first trade, in that case it should immediately allow that trade to go through. If it is the second trade, if it is the second trade that is happening, in that case I will want to have some additional checks. What additional checks we will go through soon. But the point is that I have made two different conditions out here. One is position detail of entry all quantity of call is 0, and second is entry all quantity is not equal to 0. So this basically checks for my first trade or not the first trade and so on. Now what I'm doing after that is that I am having my position builder. Now my position builder has a simple call option that I've added for the current week along with a strike price. Now out here I basically am looking to find a strike which is trading at 150 rupees. As mentioned, 150 is just a number I like. You can test it with different numbers and see what works best for you. Um, after adding my fine strike, I will now add my target and stop loss. So my target and stop loss is a simple LTP greater than traded instrument plus number 50. So this acts as my stop loss and target. And after this, so after getting my target and stop loss, I'm doing a very important thing. I am basically having a runtime variable. Now I have two different runtime variables, one in time of my entry and one in time of my exit. Let's first see the exit runtime variable that I'm generating, uh, which is basically the pillar of the entire strategy. Now in here, I am basically doing something called what profit. So I'm making a variable called what profit, and I am making a mathematical calculation of here. Now this mathematical calculation is basically LTP minus traded instrument. So what I'm doing is I'm finding the current price of the instrument and I am finding the entry price of the same instrument. So I'm finding, let's say if I took a trade in that 18,100 call and I took it at let's say 150 rupees, I am now making a subtraction of the current price. So let's say if my current price is 100 rupees, which means I'm in a profit. Now 100 minus 150 would basically give me a negative number. And if I have a negative number, I will want to treat it as a separately. But if I have something like the numbers, let's say 200 minus 150, in that case, I will get a positive number. And if it is a positive number, in that case, I will treat it separately. This is mainly because of this rule that I have generated out here. So if let's say I have a if let's say I have a uh, if let's say I have a target, then I will find a strike at 150. If I have a stop loss, then I will do the wait and trade thing and then sell the lot. So for my target, I will basically have a negative number, and for my stop loss, if my what profit is a positive number, in that case I will be executing two different things. So my calculation that I just did basically ascertains what profits value. Once I get what profits value, if it is more than 0 or less than 0, I can basically decide the flow that I want to create after that. um, with that understanding, let's go back to the entry condition and what is built for my entry. So in my entry, I am now checking two different things in two different sets. The current set, my first set is basically checking if my what profit value is negative, which means if it is less than 0. If it is less than 0, then it means I'm in a profit. And if I'm in a profit, I will basically follow this same thing. I'll do the find strike method, and I'll find a new strike which is at 150. If it is in a loss, which is being handled in my set 2. So my set 2 is basically checking if my what profit is greater than number 0, which we have established would basically be a loss. So if it is in a loss, in that case, I will follow this particular method, and I will do the second method. Now, in addition to what profit, my second runtime variables that I'm generating are an entry. So the runtime variables I'm generating every time I take a trade is that I am basically the uh, saving three things about the trade. I'm saving the instrument name, I'm saving the strike, and I'm saving the price at which my entry happened. So these three variables allow me the flexibility to be able to recheck for this kind of things. So my wait and trade logic will basically happen when I have the three variables that I have mentioned above: the entry strike, the entry price, and the instrument name upon entry. So by doing this, I will basically now be able to ascertain in my set 2 if my price has come below the original entry price. With this particular condition, I'm able to check if my LTP has come back to the entry price, and therefore I will be able to complete this part of the cycle, which is being done for wait and trade. So wait and trade is followed from here. Now in this, I am utilizing the instrument name variable and the price variable that I have generated here, and the strike that I'm taking is the strike that I'm getting from my get runtime keyword using the strike number out here. So with this, I am basically being able to achieve this whole re-entry, re-execution kind of logic. So so you can see I have run a backtest of this strategy from the last 30 months. And let's download the overall stats for this same strategy. So we can see from the stats, the strategy has given a fairly decent equity curve. And along with that, we can also see that the drawdowns are also fairly limited. It goes to at max around 8-9% in drawdowns. And you can also see a lot of other statistical data for this particular strategy as well. So you can see from the daily summary that the best performance of the strategy is coming in on Wednesdays and Thursdays, because generally this is like the time when the market is most trending, and the strategy generally takes advantage of the highly trending setups a lot. So again, with that, we can also see a lot of other statistical data like our return histograms and other stuff like the daily movements of and the volatility and ratios and so on. So with that, we'll end this video. If you have any other strategies that you want us to cover in future videos, feel free to drop it in the comments or mail it to us at support@tradetron.tech, and we would be happy to help you with the same. As usual, the link of the strategy is mentioned in the description. Feel free to duplicate it, paper trade it, back test it, and test it as you like. Thank you very much. Bye.